born in Flea Bottom, just like you. I live below the Street of Flower.
How close to the Red Keep were you?
On Gin Alley.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Welcome to my Game of Thrones Season 4 preview for Sir Davos. He's one of the best characters on Game of Thrones, but because he's a minor character, we don't see him quite as much. So I'll do a quick backstory on how Sir Davos ended up with Stannis and how he got knighted, as well as some of my favorite moments from the show so far before talking about Season 4. Spoilers for everything that's happened on the show so far, and minor spoilers for books 4 and 5. So Sir Davos Seaworth is called the Onion Knight, that's his sigil, and he chose it himself. Someone didn't give that to him. It's kind of an inside joke between him and King Stannis, but I don't think Stannis really gets the joke. He was originally this smuggler that worked in the Narrow Sea, and during Robert's Rebellion, he helped smuggle in food to Stannis' army. Stannis was actually left behind when Robert went to fight the crown, so there weren't really any soldiers to help, so they basically got shut up for almost a year. So Stannis, in a rare moment of gratitude, knighted Sir Davos, but not without taking pieces of each of his fingers off. Ugh. Most of the food that he brought to Stannis included onions and dried fish, so thus he became the Onion Knight. So before we get to Season 4, let's talk about our favorite Sir Davos moments. Personally, mine is when he's in the dungeon beneath Dragonstone with Gendry in Season 3. They had this really heartfelt bro moment where they just talk about how shitty their lives have been. It's basically like a my life is shittier than yours kind of conversation. Note to self, if you ever move to King's Landing, don't live in Flea Bottom. But what is he going to be doing in Season 4 now that Stannis and Melisandre are headed to the Wall, and now that the showrunners are actually changing a lot of things from books 4 and 5 for the show? Well, you can think of Sir Davos' story in book 4 and book 5 as kind of like a Theon Greyjoy situation. No, he doesn't get tortured within an inch of his life, and pieces of him don't get sent to Stannis, but he really doesn't appear in book 4 that much. He comes back in book 5. So the showrunners, like they did with Theon, are basically going to bring that story into Season 4. So you'll see a lot of Season 5 things, if you've read that book, happening in Season 4. So if you remember at the end of Season 3, Sir Davos basically bargains for his life by telling Stannis that he'll help replenish his army in his fleet. Remember, most of those soldiers died in the Battle of Blackwater Bay, so Stannis really doesn't have much of an army right now, and he's headed to the Wall. So Stannis needs to find more ships and more soldiers. That takes him to White Harbor, but there are some Stark sympathizers there, and turns out the Lannisters have one of their sons. So Sir Davos naturally gets thrown in the dungeon. In exchange for their son, Cersei demands that they kill Sir Davos. The interesting thing here is that Sir Davos actually ends up helping the Starks in this indirect way. Not directly. It's not like he's working for Catelyn Stark, who obviously had a very unfortunate time in Season 3. But he does end up helping Stark bannermen get Rickon back. But it's this side mission that we probably won't see until Season 5. It will actually take him up back to where Stannis is. So there's a good chance that he could actually help Stannis out in the battle with the wildlings. But the really interesting thing about Game of Thrones is that because the actual landmass of Westeros is not super ginormous, a lot of the characters end up running into each other again later in the story. So it'll be really interesting to see, and I totally think that Sir Davos will eventually get pulled back into service with Stannis and Melisandre. Mostly because the place where Rickon is being held, remember he's going to be sent to rescue Rickon, is actually right near Eastwatch, which is basically where you take ships when you're going to the Wall. But let me know if you think that Sir Davos is going to end up helping Stannis and Melisandre, or if he's going to take off and go to the east. Remember, he's been serving Stannis for a long time. He hates Melisandre, and Stannis has been crapping on him all of Season 3, and it'll probably continue to happen in Season 4. So he really doesn't have much of a reason to keep serving Stannis. But let me know what you think. Either way, Halloween is this week, and I thought it'd be fun to do a Game of Thrones Halloween video since I'm so close to 30,000 subscribers. So there isn't much of a Halloween in Westeros. They don't have a lot of holidays. The closest thing they have is actually something honoring the stranger. So be sure to subscribe to get that video. I'll try and post it this Friday. Tonight, I'll be posting my latest episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and tomorrow morning, I'll be posting my latest episode of Supernatural. So if there's any big questions you have about Sir Davos, or anything that you thought was really important that I didn't include in the video, be sure to write it in the comments, and we'll discussify. As always, if you really want to help me out, please like and share this video. Thank you so much for watching. You can click here to watch all my other Game of Thrones Season 4 previews, and you can click here to watch my latest Walking Dead video. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys tonight. High fives.